For me, it's really fun to play multiplayer games in VR. While there's a ton of different multiplayer VR games, these are the ones that I tend to play over and over again. I'm not gonna mention any of the obvious ones, like the open world social VR apps like VR Chat, Horizon Worlds, or Rec Room, because I think that's pretty obvious. This next VR game is like a game that me and everybody else in the VR community play together a lot. Every month we do 1 or 2 multiplayer like community game nights in Discord. And usually if we can't think of something to play, we end up defaulting to this game because it's really fun. There's a lot of like different environments and updates that's always happening with this game. And it's like, it can be a long game, but it also is not that long of a game at the same time. So this one's called Walkabout Mini Golf, and it's exactly what it sounds like. You just play mini golf, except now it's in VR, which is weird because I don't really play mini golf much in real life. Like, I think it's cool, but it's not something that I would go out of my way to go and do per se. But in VR, it's almost better. In Walkabout Mini Golf, there's a lot of different sceneries. Like there's like a Sweetopia one. Yeah, they did a map for 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, and that was really cool. Walkabout Mini Golf is a nice casual enough game that you can just kind of like play while you're like hanging out and just chatting with people. And there is like, you know, a score system, but it's not that competitive, and obviously everyone's taking turns, so you can go explore with other people while some other people are taking their turn. And there's also like little mini games that happen in Walkabout Mini Golf. For example, there's these hidden golf balls. Like there's one hidden golf ball on each course. If you find the hidden golf ball, then you'll get that golf ball skin. You have or had Nintendo Switch, you probably heard about Overcooked, which is where you and up to 4 friends are all like chefs in this little kitchen, and you run around and you're like chopping things and you're assembling orders and you're washing dishes and cleaning the kitchen and all that stuff. Well, there's a game like this in VR. It's called Cookout VR. And it's actually very different to play a cooking chef game in 2D, where you're just kind of like this, and then all of a sudden being in VR. Like a big example is when you're playing in VR, you're physically chopping every single ingredient. You're grabbing stuff from all the other people that are playing, and things are flying everywhere. So it gets pretty intense. And also, like my arms after playing Cookout VR starts to hurt after about like, I don't know, like 10 minutes. My arms start to hurt because I'm just like chopping so fast and trying to move all the plates everywhere and stuff. So it gets pretty chaotic. One of my friends who I talk about Cookout VR with, he said that he really liked Cookout VR at the lower levels, but once it got to the higher levels, it was too intense and too realistic, and he used to work in like at restaurants and stuff, so for him it was a little too realistic. It's a nice game for people to like casually play. Like you don't have to go in the super high levels if you don't want to. This next multiplayer game is not going to be that surprising to anyone. Probably one of the most anticipated VR games this year, and that's obviously Among Us VR. So it's a simple game, simple mechanics, and the point of the game, like, so you can have up to 10 players, and the whole point of the game is like all 10 players are on the spaceship, and you're walking around trying to like repair the spaceship, but among the 10 people, there's 2 imposters. When Among Us was really popular in 2020, when the pandemic first happened, it's like, it's cute, right? So you're just like kind of, it's on the computer or wherever you're playing, and so you kind of just, you know, it's very 2D, very whatever. But when you get into Among Us in VR, it's crazy. It all of a sudden turns into a mild horror game because you're walking around and you never know, like you're always looking over your shoulder, like physically looking over your shoulder. Whereas if you're playing, on the computer, you obviously wouldn't do that because you're just looking at the computer screen. So it's really good. I would say it's more a game of like deception than anything. It's really trying to see how well you can like lie to your friends and strangers, whoever you're playing with. It's really hard for me to do that though, so I end up usually failing. So when I play Among Us VR, like there's 2 imposters, me and some other person. If the other imposter gets caught, I get so stressed out that I just do something stupid and get caught immediately. I don't know why, I just get so stressed when I'm like the only imposter left. So for the next game, I'm normally not an FPS type of player because I'm really bad at shooting games. Oh, I got sniped.
I got low ground.
Are you kidding me? Stop killing me!
No, Which one is?
They keep sniping me! But this next game, even though it is technically a shooter, it feels more like a social game to me. If you haven't guessed already, I'm talking about Population 1. So Population 1, you get put into teams of 3s, like you get dropped into an arena and you compete with other squads to basically be the squad that kills everybody else. Even though this game is technically an FPS game, to me it feels like a social game because I'm with these 3 people and I mean, normally they're pretty nice to me. Like, I mean, if you're a really good Population 1 player or you're really competitive, then you probably you have a team, you have a core team that you're always playing with, and everyone else who just goes into the lobby and gets auto matched with random people, those people are probably not as competitive or not as serious about it since they don't have like a team that they're playing with. So when I get paired with those people, everyone's been generally pretty nice. Like there's no such thing as like a medic role, but I kind of self-assigned myself the medic role because I, like, you know, when your teammate's down, you can use like a defibrillator to kind of bring them back to life. So I usually lay low in the back and make sure I revive everybody so that our team never dies.
You should have heard us. We were panicking. Oh. Big slow circle.
Oh my God, if I can just do it faster. Another thing I've done is I've always also been used as bait by my team, which I'm perfectly fine. I'm a team player. If you want to use me as bait, if you want me to lay low and revive everybody, perfectly fine. I'll do any of these things. And then the whole time you have you can hear your teammates. So I just end up chatting with them the whole time while we're like going along. So it's like, I don't know, it's like going on an adventure with friends, except you're also in a competition. So another multiplayer game that I really like, and this one's free, is called Big Screen. So it's a movie theater in VR where you can watch movies and also TV shows. For example, this past week, I actually set up a private room, like a private movie theater, just for anyone who had the room code. And we watched Elf. And so in order to watch Elf, I streamed it from my computer. So you can connect your computer to Big Screen app. And so now it was me and everybody in our like Discord and the community. We were all just like in there hanging out in this movie theater in VR while watching a movie. Yeah, it's way more fun to watch movies with other people than to just like watch it by yourself at home. And also, if you're watching it by yourself at home, the chances are your TV is gonna be a lot smaller than what it would look like in VR. Every single month, we're gonna try to do a movie night in Big Screen for our communities. Yeah, anyone that's in Discord will be alerted of our movie nights. But yeah, that was super fun. And so definitely looking for ideas for movies that people wanna watch together in the future. So this last one, I saved the best for last. This is my favorite one. So I am a huge board game player. I used to play Catan obsessively throughout college, and I also played Terraforming Mars religiously during the pandemic. Oh my gosh, so many board game nights during the pandemic when no one was allowed to go out. The last on my list, if you haven't guessed, is Dimio. Dimio is such a good game. It's like a strategy game, and you kind of like it's kind of like a board game and a strategy game where the point of the game is to find the monster that has the key and then get the key from the monster and unlock the gate. That's pretty much the whole premise of the game. It's up to 4 players, and you guys can pick whatever type of characters you want, and each character has its own special ability. It's a really good like team bonding, team building activity while also having a lot of strategy involved, because obviously like, you know, you and whoever you're playing with are all a team, so you're all trying to get to this end together. But yeah, when you start getting attacked like crazy by all the monsters, it gets pretty stressful and kind of funny because we're all just like, oh fudge, we're all like falling apart and dying and all that stuff. So yeah, it's just a good time. This game lasts easily like an average of 3 hours, and they're constantly updating it with like new characters and new maps, so it's a solid game. I would love to know what are some of your favorite multiplayer VR games and why? And also, do you play multiplayer VR games more often than solo player, or is it vice versa? Yeah, I'm kind of curious because for me, I really love multiplayer games.